Hello, my fellow fans of Faerun, and welcome back to Neverwinter Nights, the core campaign. First thing is I've got to apologize for my absence over the last couple of days. I came down with a nice, nasty head cold, and so I'm still a little congested, but I'm feeling a lot better now. And today, we have an exciting event. We are going to fight our first dragon. So, just like you should do in your paper RPG, you must prepare for the dragon. So the first thing I did was I filled out my spell book with some new spells and some stuff that I'm going to want to take advantage of. Notably, I have the Spell Breach, which should reduce my opponent's spell resistance so that I might be able to get in some of the more aggressive spells, but I've also taken a number of my acid spells, which don't care about spell resistance. I'm also going to stone skin myself, and that's about it. So, I'm going to go ahead and start buffing up, and then we'll go talk to the dragon, and we'll take it from there. Alright, so first thing I want... Alright, sorry about that. I had to take a short break there. Train was passing by, and I didn't want you guys to get annoyed by the whistle. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is... I don't have that in my quick bar slot. So let me go ahead and do this. I'm going to stone skin myself. Now, I can't control what Body Knock's doing, so I can't get him to buff up before we go in here. I probably could. I could probably talk to him and make him cast some spells, but it's not really going to matter too much. Alright, so the dragon immediately attacks because he senses the Amulet of Ages. So, first thing we're going to do is go ahead and pull out the Lesser Spell Breach. And that should reduce his spell resistance. Yep, okay. So, what happened there was I did not overcome his spell resistance, so my Lesser Missile Storm didn't do anything. Let's try to do that again. Hey, this one. Alright, Body Knock's gonna run defense for a minute while I just unload spells. Hey guys, look, I'm pretending to be a wizard. How did you resist that? It's not supposed to have Ugh. I hate when they change things. This spell is not supposed to actually have spell resistance. Well, I think that was just a save. Okay, so I'm getting through for some damage. I'll go ahead and move in on him. Once my acid arrow stops affecting him, I'll run away for a second. And as you can see, there's these rocks floating around him. That is stone skin for creatures that aren't human. So... we know my dagger is super effective against things with stone skin. Alright, my acid arrow is off. Retreat. Cast the spell. And then get right back in there. Now, his Ice Breath isn't doing a whole lot to me because of the Amulet of Ages. We'll go ahead and take a potion just to be safe. And down he goes. And that, everybody, is how you kill a dragon. So, the next part is to raid the dragon's lair, and it looks like he has a single chest. Well, I guess being trapped in a snow globe does not allow him to collect much treasure. But let's just make sure. Okay. So yeah. In the later games, most of the dragons will drop some kind of either dragon's blood, or you can pick up a piece of their body. I think one of the quest items later in this chapter is the dragon's skull. But let's go ahead and take a look at what's in the chest. 1,500 gold, and more gold, some gems. The one that's most important to me is the diamond, though, wherever it got off to, because that lets me upgrade my astral blade. There it is. Now, here's the word of power, but sometimes the chests have more than one screen to them. And here we have a scythe. Nature's Scythe. It's one we've had before, but I'll take it and sell it. And we'll take this word of power.
You have done well to find the second word. Its power draws my spell, so that my projection may speak to you in this vision. There is much you must know.
What do you have to tell me?
Morgrim is nothing but a fool. He does not truly understand what he seeks. The words are ancient beyond imagination. They contain power he cannot fathom. I, Hadraline of the Word Slaves, was there at the beginning when the world was hot and this land was jungle where the old ones ruled.
When the world was hot? What are you talking about?
Once this winter land was a lush jungle. Vents from the earth blasted scorching steam into the sky, and the world was warm and fruitful. The old ones lived in this paradise, as did we word slaves.
Word slaves?
The living power of the words Morgrim seeks had to be bound in the flesh of the word slaves. We were unwilling guardians, our souls tied to the ancient magic of the old ones. When the world was hot, we word slaves suffered for the empire of the old ones. The words ripping their power from our tortured spirits and our living flesh.
Well, since I know what the old ones are, what does this have to do with me?
The humans and elves and dwarves were but slaves to my people, the creator race. Just as I was a slave, bound with the power of the words. Until the extinction of my people, and the coming of the endless winter.
It wasn't really endless. It ended at one point in time, because I assume you're talking about an ice age. What happened to the words of power when the old ones died?
Over the centuries, the magic of the words became dormant. Their power faded. And as we who were left behind grew strong, the bonds enslaving us were broken. We who had once been slaves scattered and hid the words, so that we would be forever free of their legacy. Now, thousands of years have passed, and even we who hid the words no longer know where to find them.
If your people were wiped out, how did you survive?
When the old ones vanished, the power of their words remained, as did we, the word slaves bound to that power, forced to walk the now frozen and desolate earth, forced to preserve the words and legacy of our masters. Many word slaves died when the endless winter came, but some learned to survive in the frozen waste, hiding from the lesser races who now hunted us. To survive what the masters could not endure.
I don't really care to know about this Ice Age, so what does this have to do with Mogrim?
Morgrim seeks to unlock the dormant power of the words, so that he may enslave again. Word slaves, humans, dwarves, elves. Morgrim would have all bow to him as master.
Alright, so here I could either be a cynical jackass, but I think I'm just gonna pretend to be my paladin-y self, so Mogrim will never succeed. I will stop him.
Morgrim is already doomed. The words were meant to release ancient evil upon the land. To devastate those who survived the change the old ones could not. The plague was only the first of the evils the words will unleash. The world as you know it shall be no more if Morgrim succeeds. This is the legacy of the creators. The words... No! It cannot be! Morag!
What? What's wrong?
Morag! He strikes at me! This cannot be! She attacks me through the words. She disrupts my spell of projection.
Morag? Who's Morag? Tell me before it's too late.
No!
No. That sucks. Now, with the word in hand, you might be inclined to see if you can talk with the elves. Or not the elves, but the dwarves and the dryads. But this door is now plot locked.
The evidence seems to indicate that won't happen.
With the death of the Guardian, White Dragon, the world within the snow globe has disappeared. You must exit through the portal. So we can't go back out there and talk with them. Although that statement's kind of misleading, because the world's not really gone, and I'll show you in just a second. So let's go through the portal. And this takes us back here. And you can still investigate the pedestal. With the Guardian destroyed, the Dryads and Dwarves were freed from their enslavement. They now appear to be living in harmony. However, with the removal of the word, there is no way to re-enter the snow globe. Okay. And then, if you want to, you can talk with Lillian, but it's relatively unnecessary. She has just gotten extremely drunk and slurs her words and stuff, so... Well, there's only one thing to do as we round out an episode, is to find my invisible friend and talk to him.
Is there something you need?
I just want to talk for a while. I am a staunch proponent of the free exchange of ideas, Keagro. What is it you wish to know? I want you to continue with what you were telling me before. I probably shouldn't tell you this, Keagro, but you have proven yourself to me many times over, and I am certain not even Gond himself would begrudge me for asking your assistance in this matter. I'm about to reveal a secret known only to the people of Lantern and those within the Church of Gond Wonderbringer. I'm relying on you not to spread the secret around. As you know, Keagro, I left Lantern on a journey of discovery. What you might not have known was that my journey is also a holy pilgrimage in the service of Gond Wonderbringer. I've been charged with a task. What task? Whenever one of my people embarks upon a sojourn to the mainland, the clerics have gone prey to the Wonderbringer for a vision of what new and previously unseen wonder the traveler is to seek out on his journey. In my case, the priest saw a terrible creature of enormous size and great power, a monster unknown in my homeland. Only after consulting the texts in the Great Library did the priests understand the vision was of a dragon. You have to bring back a dragon? That won't be easy. Obviously, bringing back an entire dragon would be an impossible request, and the clerics would have been foolish to burden me with such a ridiculous task. Instead, they charged me a return with the dragon's scale. Through experimentation, study, and magical divination, we can learn much about these creatures from a single scale. However, the scale must not have been tainted by spells or other unnatural forces such as magical weapons, or the experiments will be corrupted by the outside influence. So, we need to kill a dragon without using any spells or magical weapons. I realize the odds of defeating a dragon without spells or magical weapons are so minute as to be negligible. However, there may be another way to obtain the scale. Dragons occasionally come into conflict with other creatures, giants and other dragons primarily. In battling those foes, surely a dragon must be wounded, perhaps even killed. Logically, we might expect to find a dragon scale that has been torn free or dislodged in one of these struggles. This is far more likely than killing a dragon ourselves without any magical aid whatsoever. Well, let's not be a jerk. So I guess you're off to search for some dragon caves. Do not fear, Keagro. As long as you seek the words of power, I shall remain in your service. In my time with you, I have seen more wonders and experienced more fantastic adventures than all but a handful of my people. When I return home, my accounts will enrich the knowledge of all Lantern. I would be a fool to leave you now, even if I thought I could find a dragon scale on my own. Don't worry, Enoch. We'll find you a dragon scale somewhere. Nothing would please me more, Keagro, except for locating the words of power for Aaron Gent. Okay. And luckily, we're about to head into the spine of the world, which is a breeding ground for dragons, basically. So maybe we'll find his scale there. But, as usual, I'd like to thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you next time on Keagro's Adventures in the Sword Coast.